The full moon on April 7th represents perhaps one of the most profound shifts in consciousness you or humanity has ever experienced. Hey, what's going on, my friends? Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Victor, and I help people navigate through their spiritual awakening process. And in today's video, I'm going to share with you 5 things I think you should know about this extremely important full moon we have here on April 7th, 2020. Number 1, I wrote down soul expansion. What I mean by that is that your spirit, your soul, your higher self is probably in some way, shape, or form individual to you, asking to have a bigger role in your life. For some reason, most of us have casted our higher self, our greater self, is in some sort of backup secondary role in this play of life we're experiencing. And the times are changing. We're connecting now more than ever with the divine reality. It's blending in with this 3D experience that we've been having for thousands of years. And the veil is so thin, your higher self can come through more powerfully and be more of a real guiding force in helping you live the best life possible in all ways. Relationships, career, everything can be so much better. We can live so much richer of a life, but we have to let go and allow our soul to guide us. And most of us would say, you know what, that's cool. Who wouldn't want their own soul to guide them? Well, when it comes down to it, because we've been programmed and have been going through life in a certain way with a lot of control for so long, it's so hardwired into us. When it comes down to it, it's a challenge for most people to truly let go because we don't know how. We never have. It reminds me a lot when I was going through a big shift in my own life several years back, when I was basically feeling extremely intuitively guided to let go of everything. Let go of my careers, let go of my house, let go of my relationships, and let go of my living situation, let go of my identity. It was like in exchange for what? In exchange for the complete unknown, some kind of dream that resonates, but there's no map, there's no plan, there's no guarantee. And it was like, Victor, it's time to trust. You know you can do this. You know it's going to be really cool and really exciting. You know this is not what you actually want, and this is over here what you want. And we are the bridge, your higher self. It's like we can do it together, but you have to trust me. You have to do the next step, and oftentimes the next step is something that we don't want to do. I'll say, okay, I'll do that when all these other things are in place, and the higher self knows the best order. So right now you might be feeling a real strong pull of destiny, a pull of your higher self saying it's time to make this big shift right now. Because the way things are right now, we're in a very, very powerful, transformative, transitional period right now. And there's a lot breaking away, a lot falling apart. And in the rubble, there are these new seeds sprouting. And the way these seeds are sprouting, it's coming from these ideas, these downloads, these inspirations from your higher self. But in order to really bring these seedlings into fruition, into this beautiful plant that'll be your brand new life, we have to let go of control, and we have to let the higher self come in and take charge. Number 2, the way to do this, the way to finally allow a divine guidance to positively expand and influence our life, is to let go and trust. That's the one thing required for all this to work, is we have to trust. And most of you who have been going through this experience especially have had enough times under your belt where you can look back and say, you know what? I can trust. For the most part, I'm like 80%. I trust primarily. But there's that little reservation. There's certain things You might have attachments to certain things that you want to kind of still control. And the higher self is saying, you have to let go of that too. For this to work, there needs to be a real union of you and your higher self. And these attachments keep that union from taking place, okay? And it's okay not to trust. There's reasons why you don't trust. There's reasons I don't trust as well. And I'll tell you, it's because we have had many experiences throughout life, many lifetimes, where we've been burned, ridiculed, imprisoned, probably stoned, perhaps. This path of faith previously has not worked out well for a lot of us. But times are different. And now you can trust because the energy is different. The negative influences that once held the consciousness of the planet down to a certain level where we had a lot of those painful experiences over the last several thousand years are dying away. This energy is breaking apart the controlling systems on the planet right now. And that's going to give way to a brand new freedom where you can trust, and it's going to work out this time. This is the time of the awakening. This is the transition into this new dimension where we are far more connected, far more conscious, far more tapped into the love of all that is supporting us like the wind at our back. And even though in the past, when things weren't like that, the energy of the planet was far different, we were burned. Now is a different story. Now is a different time. And that's why your higher self is coming to you one more time. Your higher self is coming in and saying, please take my hand. Things are going to be different. And if you look deep enough inside, you'll feel that too. Number 3, I wrote down a time to heal. There's such a positive, powerful charge right now. And the way the situation is never before in history has the whole planet, not even close, been shut down to this extent, at least in our lifetimes. Okay, the whole planet is being, as what Eckhart Tolle calls recently in a YouTube video, he calls it a forced stillness. He said it's like life is taking charge of itself and forcing all the people, all humanity to sit still. And to take all that awareness that we all possess, that has been so occupied with doing and participating in this non-stop hamster wheel of hustle and bustle type of lifestyle that we all live. It's like, without being able to participate in that, we have all this leftover awareness to go where? To shine inward and reveal how backed up we are. You, me, everybody, we're all backed up. We've been so busy. We've been accumulating karma, accumulating baggage. We have all these pockets of unexpressed emotional energy and we're just carrying them around and they're impinging upon our ability to express ourselves fully and cleanly. They're severing, they're creating the illusion that we are disconnected from everybody, that we are just this island all into ourselves when we're not. So finally, Earth, this divine intervention has taken place where we can all look at ourselves. But it's not comfortable. And this is not a comfortable thing. Most people are feeling very anxious and feeling very restless and feeling a lot of fear. Okay? And when we feel that, when we feel these emotions, these blockages up at the surface, it's a sign that it's a time to take time to sit back and heal and let those energies out of your system. It's very simple and it can be a very graceful feeling of liberation if you just take the time to lay back and allow yourself to heal. I did this just the other day. My wife Patty and I were feeling this way. We were feeling kind of backed up, feeling disconnected, feeling kind of emotional, but not really sure why, not feeling very optimistic, kind of down on ourselves. So We hired a babysitter and we went over to the Red Rocks and we did a nice long 3 or 4 hour hike. And Patty had a lot of breakthroughs and it was good for her, but I came down from that mountain feeling the same. I felt unresolved. So finally we were about to head home and we thought we'd go to grocery shopping. So I said, you know, honey, why don't you go into the Whole Foods there, and while you're in there, I'm gonna just sit back in the truck here and process. So I finally did. I finally stopped trying to heal, stopped trying to figure my life out. And once she left, I turned on some cool like shaman-y music that I like to listen to. I reclined back, I closed my eyes and just said, I let go. I'm choosing to surrender right now to everything. And I just kept saying that, I'm letting go. I'm choosing to let go. I'm choosing to surrender. And what happened next was not overly obvious. What happened next was subtle and yet profound. I started to feel the tightness in my chest start to kind of loosen up a little bit. And I felt these energies slowly kind of like a deflating balloon leave my system, and I just kept surrendering, and thoughts were coming up, ideas, things to concern about, emotions, unresolved issues were coming up, and I would just say, okay, yes, I surrender. And every time I said and chose to surrender, I fell deeper and deeper and deeper into this place of alignment, into the moment, and it was profound, and it was amazing, and all I had to do was take a pause from life, lay back, and allow. This spiritual awakening path is oftentimes abundant with paradoxes. So parallel to all this healing and trusting, you might have these other new, exciting inspirations, ideas, plans, and visions coming into your field, coming into your awareness about your bright future. Like what happened for me recently, I was sitting down right here on the floor where I write. I was writing my book. And as I was writing my book, I was telling a story of this QHHT experience that I had a few years ago, several years ago actually. And what that means is quantum healing hypnosis technique. It was taught by the awesome Dolores Cannon. If you like my channel, you would probably dig her books. Really cool woman. And anyway, I had this experience in this session, and it was so powerful and so life-changing. I was writing about it. And as I was writing about it, I started to think, you know what, Vic? Why don't you get certified so you can do that? And even right now, I'm getting a tap in my hand. I started getting these physical cues that I get personally, where I feel a lot of energy in my body. And that to me is like a confirmation saying that idea was a good one. You're onto something here. And I normally never do this, but I took a break from my writing flow and I went online and I was looking it up, QHHT certifications, and I found an online one I can do. And it was just like the whole experience of looking at that website was like, wow, yes, 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 yes. Now, what can tend to happen is when we have these experiences, the mind can come in and say, well, good, fine, cool, almost like a parent that doesn't want you to get too excited because they don't want you to be disappointed. The ego can come in and say, you know what, cool, now might not be the best time. I'm happy you're into this, but maybe not now. You want to ignore that part of yourself. You want to literally just take that idea and run with it, because those ideas that resonate with you are literally going to be the seeds that eventually blossom into this whole forest that you'll call a new life with new relationships, new career opportunities, more abundance, happier everything. Your life can expand in a very, very, very powerful way right now when you apply those ideas into your life, contrary to how things seem right now. There is so much breakdown, so much collapse. But as in proportion to what's collapsing, both in the collective and also your own life and your own conditioning, there's an equal amount of newness, authenticity coming up to now express itself in your life. And the earlier stages are those $1 million ideas that pop in your mind when you're lying awake at night that resonate with your body. It's time to write those down and get to work. Number 5 in what might be seen by a lot of people as the darkest hour they've ever gone through, this dark night of the soul type of human collective experience we're all sort of connected to, in that you are more connected to the above, to your guides, to your angels, to your deceased loved ones than ever before. And all you have to do is ask for help. Literally, you, me, family over there, probably have at least 10 or 12 spirits, consciousnesses, loved ones, family members hovering around us, guiding us and protecting us and just watching us do this work. And they're just waiting for us to say, hey, what's up? And once you reach out, they come and they can assist you in many unique, powerful ways. There's so much potential for that kind of stuff right now. Even if you haven't had that experience, I would suggest just giving it a try. You might be surprised at what happens when you choose to simply ask for help. I went through the first 18 years of my life not believing in any type of higher power at all. My parents didn't make me go to church, and I found myself one time at the edge of my bed in a drug rehab facility. It was my third or fourth time. But back then I was a heroin addict a long time ago, and it was like my third or fourth time in rehab, and I found myself sitting at the edge of my bed, and I was pissed off. I was pissed off because it was my first day on that rehab stint, so it was like the nighttime, and the drugs were wearing off. I was getting sick, my nose was running, my stomach was aching, my bones were just pulsating with pain. There's this feeling of like you're crawling in your skin. It's a miserable withdrawal period when you're coming off that type of drug. And to top it off, I was really mad because prior to going to bed that night, I was in what's called a didactic. It was like the last lecture that the therapist put on. And there was this dude named Marty. He was a therapist. He was one of those people that was really like gung-ho about religion, very religious. God told me this, Jesus told me this, sort of like preachy type of person. And I was sitting there listening to him, getting so triggered by him because I was feeling like, you know what? If God is real, why would he let me, or why would it let me, she let me, go through this? Why am I suffering? Why am I feeling like I'm dying right now and just withering away? At 18 years old, I've had no signs of help. And I was like ticked off, and I was arguing with Marty, going back and forth. So I left that didactic feeling pissed off and just angry. And I got to my room, and it was cold and dark, and I felt depressed, and I was sitting at the edge of my bed in tears, just as the reality of what my life had become was bombarding me in the face. And that fear, those tears eventually turned to anger. I was ticked off, started thinking about what Marty had said. So I look up finally, and I start yelling at God, this higher power I didn't believe in. I was swearing, I was just yelling at God, if you're so powerful, where are you? Look where I'm at, you've abandoned me, that kind of stuff. And literally, as I was yelling at this higher power I didn't believe in, from one moment to the next, I was just gone. I literally vanished and appeared. I swear to you, there was no discernible transition. One minute I was sitting there arguing with God. The next moment I was somewhere else. And this somewhere else was what I would describe, and did describe at the time, as a heavenly realm. Now, why would you call it a heavenly realm? Well, because it was all white. And the whole place emanated with a potency of divine, unconditional love that I had not even come close to it having experienced in my life. I was just, my mind was blown that this is real, like heaven is real, God is real. It was a real experience of that. And I found myself so taken back by the purity of this divine love that I just found myself bawling in tears. Finally, at one moment, I was still there. I look up, and I could see this figure in the distance making their way towards me. And as it got closer, I realized, you're probably not going to believe this, but it was an angel. It was a straight up angel, and they were coming at me. And as it got closer and closer, I saw that this angel in itself was a source of this divine love. And as the angel approached and kind of floated towards me, I felt the love more and more and more. And finally, this angel got so close to me, didn't say a word, and they just put their wings around me. There's wings, okay? And as I was like embraced by this angel, I felt anytime I tell the story, I choke up because I can remember what it felt like to be in that moment. And I just lost it. I was just like, oh my God, you know? And then beyond that, the situation turned into kind of like a life review, very similar to what people have happen when there's a near-death experience. And I'm not gonna get into all that, but it was this whole divine intervention that came out of freaking left field. And all I had to do was ask. When the dream was over, whatever the heck that thing was, I found myself lying in bed, and when I woke up, I gasped out of bed. I did a push-up in my bed, like, and the first thing that dawned on me was like, bro, it's freaking daytime. I don't remember going to sleep. When you're coming off of heroin, there is no sleep. For at least 10 days, there's not a wink. You don't sleep for a split second. And somehow or another, I was out the whole night. It was just mind-blowing. And I had the intuition to write this down. And from that day forward, I know, I have my own knowing, my own experience that is real. And during the hard times of life, during challenging times just like this, I have that under my belt to reflect upon. And every single one of you can have that as well. And all you have to do is ask. Hey, by the way, my friends, I forgot to mention, if you want to stay connected beyond these YouTube videos and receive free messages, it's very similar to what you see on YouTube, but in written form in your email. I have an awakening newsletter that, again, you're welcome to join for free. I'll leave a link at the top of the description box for you to sign up for those who are interested. And I apologize, I mentioned this in the recent YouTube video and I forgot to leave the link anywhere, so it'll be there this time, I promise, right at the top of the description box. And with that said, you'll have a fantastic day and I'll be in touch with you very soon. Peace.